Hello future me, it's currently October 12th, 1:30 a.m. in the morning. My mind and eyes have never been as opened as right now, I guess. And in these past few months during the quarantine, I have learned more about myself than I have my entire life. I can tell you the other things some other day, but right now I just really wanted to talk to you about how messed up and how corrupted the media and all the news stations feel from my point of view. Uh, this view of the media started changing, I guess, with the George Floyd incident. Every news station reported the exact same thing. A defenseless black man who was cooperating with the cops was pressed up against the floor with a knee on his neck and ended up passing away because of that knee. This led to a lot of public outrage, and rightfully so. It is a natural human reaction to be upset over these kind of evil actions. These news sources all push the narrative that George Floyd was an innocent man and defenseless man who was cooperating with the cops and was murdered out of racism and malignant intent. However, as the full body cam footages were released much later on, we can see that George Floyd appeared to be on drugs when the police arrived on site. Later on, we see that he had 2 to 3 times the lethal amount of drugs in the system. He was also unwilling to show his hands or get out of the car for that matter. Even after he came out of the car, he was unwilling to get into the police car because he felt too claustrophobic, even though minutes ago he was unwilling to get out of his own car. In addition, he himself told the police that he would rather be on the floor than in the car. He also started saying that he couldn't breathe even before he got on the ground and way before the knee was put on his neck. One more thing, Mr. Floyd is obviously emotionally distressed throughout the entire situation. The big problem that I have is that the news all have early access to this full footage, but they keep pushing this false narrative to get more clicks and attention. Even just days before the public release of the footage, there are still stations like CNN who are still reporting on this bogus story. This is so eye-opening for me because it really showed me how much power the media still holds in this society despite how much I want to deny it. Because of the news, the officers ended up losing their jobs, being taken to court, their houses and family were targeted by the rioters. From what I've seen, the only problem with the footage that I see is that the officers put themselves in a bad position when they put the knee on his neck, and even then, I don't think they expected that to be taken out of context, because ordinarily, I don't think that would have killed someone. And I'm not trying to make light of George Floyd's death, because obviously, a death is a tragedy. We don't want people to die. But we can't blame these deaths on the police officers, because there are cases where the police officer is wrong. But this is not one of those cases, so we should not push this as one of the narratives. Also, there's this Breonna Taylor incident where the news reported it so that you would think the officers broke into the house in the middle of the night and shot her in the sleep, when what actually happened was the officers knocked on the doors with a warrant, and Taylor's boyfriend actually opened fire on the officers first and hit. This led to the officers shooting back inside, during which Taylor got caught in the crossfire. Time and time again, I see the news reporting on so many different things, and it ends up being a flat out lie sometimes. And they don't even try to announce that they made a mistake. They just add it in the end of a commercial that you probably didn't even watch so that no one will even see that they made a mistake. I guess the most important thing that I got out of this awakening, or whatever I would call it, is news stations won't always report facts or true stories to the public, because at the end of the day, the most important thing to them is getting clicks, views, or selling newspapers to make money. This is the goal of every news station at the end of the day. Reporting truth and facts is just a bonus in addition to the money that they are making from the news report. So, what I'm telling you, future me, is just be careful with news and keep yourself open-minded. Like, sub, bye.